Hello everybody, welcome to the latest episode of FPL Affairs, the podcast that discusses our 9-month-long love affair with FPL, including the ins and outs that keep us awake at night. In our Gameweek 35 transfer plans and team selection video, we have a wildcard draft, share our transfer suggestions with the top 3 for each position, what Fantasy Football Hub decides and suggests. We set our teams up as well as their recommended transfers. Before we get started, please click like if you enjoy the video, subscribe to my channel for existing content and what we have planned to bring you in the remaining weeks of the season. Let's get cracking.
And there's Mo Salah. There goes Haaland. He's on his way again. He's hungry. He's scored. Ice cold precision from Palmer. Kayo Saka.
Greetings viewers, welcome to the FPL Affairs Gameweek 35 transfer plans and team selection video with me, Matt, aka the FPL Affairs veteran. This week I am joined again by my fellow admin, Paul, aka the FPL Affairs Weasel, who will be sharing his transfer plans for his team going into 35, as well as the transfer he plans on making. We'll also have a wildcard draft for those of you who didn't free hit and are thinking of using the wildcard this week, which really, with only 4 game weeks remaining, is if I have my wildcard, I'd be playing it as well. So, shall we get cracking and look at that draft first? All right, our Game Week 35 transfer plans and team selection. As you'll notice on the thumbnail, I've identified Brentford double of Mbamo and Wissa, who scored tonight in the Forest-Brentford 34 fixture. I've also included Jared Bowen of West Ham because of some of the forthcoming fixtures they have, including playing Manchester United in, I think, 36 and Tottenham this week. So 2 teams that are both entirely focused on Europe rather than their league position. And after tonight's results, it's looking like they're going to meet in the Europa League final. So big winner takes all Champions League shootout. Anyway, our wildcard draft for 35 came up with this from the admins assemble, 1 or 2 players I put my foot down about. There were a few tantrums, a few tears. I won't let you know who. But anyway, Everton have got a couple of really good home fixtures coming up. So we've gone with Pickford in goal, Martinez as backup because Villa have got some nice fixtures too and rotate not too bad with Everton. Our 5 defenders, we've gone starting this week, Kivior of Arsenal, Gvardiol, Kivior at home to Bournemouth, Gvardiol at home to Wolves, and we've actually braved and gone differential, which we tend to like to do with our admins assemble team. The Mikalenko, Everton double up at home to Ipswich. On the bench, we've got the Forest double up of Milenkovic and Williams, both away to Crystal Palace. Obviously both, as they're both Forest players. Although after tonight, may have to question that. But Forest, for the top teams, do arguably have the best fixtures. In midfield, can't go without Salah. He's our vice-captain for this week. Away to Chelsea. Kevin De Bruyne at home to Wolves. We've captained Brian Mbeumo at home to Manchester United. We've also got in there Jared Bowen, home to Tottenham. Rodgers of Villa at home to Fulham, who now they're out of their other cup competitions, that we expect he'll continue to be a minutes magnet and fitness magnet. And although he looks tired running around, will still start every single game. So he's our attacking player that's on the bench. Morgan Rodgers, and up front we've got a forward three of Isak away to Brighton, Marmoush home to Wolves, and Wissa at home to Manchester United. So really concentrating on that Brentford double up, who have expressed before how much they enjoy playing with each other and how it's basically like having a kickabout with your best mate down the park. Although I may question the captaincy of Mbeumo after his performance, well, FPL performance tonight and booking. Isak, some people may look to captain him away to Brighton, who have been conceding a lot lately, although I would, as a Newcastle fan, will not be going there because Newcastle's results against Brighton, we have got an awful record against them. Seriously, awful, both home and away. So I will definitely not be going there. And if I had a Newcastle defender, I would be benching them. And I'd be, yeah, they'd be on my bench. And I wouldn't have a Forest double up. So I'd probably end up actually playing Milenkovic. Well, actually, no, I wouldn't. Because, anyway, I'm waffling, which is Jack's job. So that's our wildcard draft. Let us know in the comments below what you think of that draft. Are there any decisions you hate, such as the double Everton defence or double Forest defence or double Brentford attack? What do you think? Have we missed anyone that are on your nailed list if you were to do a wildcard draft? At the Fantasy Football Hub AI draft wildcard, they've gone with Henderson in goal and Leno. So difference with keepers there, although that might be different due to today's announcement of the no doubles. They've got a back three of Gvardiol and Kivior, like ourselves. They've gone O'Brien, Everton defender, over Mikalenko. In midfield, Salah, captain, different to ours, also gone Mbeumo, but they have kept Sarr and also kept Palmer. What bewilders me is I do not really understand, based on this form, why the AI is still in love with Cole Palmer. On the bench is differential Munetsi of Wolves is the substitute midfielder. And up front, Isak, Marmoush, like ourselves, as well as Cunha, which I suspect may have something to do with the initial thoughts of potential of the double up, which today's announcement is confirmed is not going ahead. Personally, I won't be following Cunha because he's away to Man City and they have been defending a little bit better of late. And on the Hubs, AI wildcard on the bench, Leno in goal, as said, Milenkovic and Williams, like ourselves from Forest, rounding off the defence, and Munetsi of Wolves. But yeah, I think they've gone a lot of double ups in there, which I don't like. And yeah, there are actually some decisions in there which, yeah, I'm really not convinced with at all, nor are the other members of the admin team. So we wouldn't be going there. Anyway, moving on, again, because I'm starting to waffle a bit much, is we've discussed and picked our top 3 transfers in for each position. Let's get the ins. In goal, we've gone with Pickford because of those 2 home fixtures primarily, which are Ipswich and my mind's now gone blank about whether it's Leicester or Southampton, or maybe it's Fulham. Anyway, they've got 2 solid home fixtures in the next 3. So Pickford's on there for us. Sells because out of the top teams that have got something to fight for, he's Forest's goalkeeper. So that's why we've got Sells as our number 2. Defence, if you don't have him already, then Gvardiol. Mikalenko, if you're not looking for a goalkeeper transfer, having a slice of that Everton defence. And hopefully if you've got a defensive rotation with Everton, it would be nice for the home fixtures and possibly an alternative for their away fixture in Gameweek 35 and not 35 in 36 as well as 38, which is a bit of a nasty one away to Newcastle. And then we've put Milenkovic as our Nottingham Forest representation. Midfield, we've got on Burmo, the standout. Bowen, our second choice, because he's playing the same two teams as Burmo in his next two fixtures, just the opposite way around, Manchester United and Tottenham. And we've put third choice, Morgan Rogers and Gibbs White, the Forest, because of the niceties of those fixtures and that they've got something to fight for, really, and they're not on the beach. Up front, Wissa for budget and Brentford's nice fixtures, and that double up with Burmo really certainly differential to go slightly to go for both, as opposed to just Burmo. All season, Wissa's gone a bit under the radar. I earlier in the season had him for a chunk, several weeks, kept him even through some tough fixtures, and he did well for me. And having Burmo and Wissa as a double up, there was one week, I can't remember what it is now, but I was on for a massive red arrow and a massive rank drop. But then them two combining and a Burmo assist for Wissa ensured I got a small red rather than a massive red. So that's why really he's up top. Watkins is our second choice, simply because with Rashford being confirmed likely out to miss a few weeks, and he won't be eligible to play in the penultimate fixture, which is against Manchester United. So that may well be him done for the season. And our third choice, really, Chris Wood. Again, we've looked at Forest's fixtures, and yeah, we're throwing our risk taking into investing in them. Those are our recommended ins. As for the outs, Chelsea's fixtures are horrible, so Sanchez is an out for us, as well as Alisson, simply because Liverpool, with nothing to play for, our concern is that Kelleher may get some minutes. We may be wrong. This was actually one player we had a disagreement in the admin team because we've got 3 Liverpool fans and there was a little bit of indecision between them. So we put in Alisson anyway. Defensively, Cucurella, again, tough fixtures for Chelsea, so unlikely to get clean sheets. And the second defensive choice was Robinson because of his injury situation and why he was entirely out of Fulham's squad for Gameweek 34. Scarily enough, amongst 9 or 10 of us, we couldn't think of a defender that we'd get rid of because we felt priorities was in removing midfield options and forward options, as those are where the investments are. So moving on to midfield, Rashford injured, which is all that's really said, injured and likely to be out for the season. Palmer, his form and value, add fixtures for Chelsea, just everything for him. Iwobi from Fulham is, although he sort of ticked along a little bit in recent weeks, there are better options, including at his price point, and Fulham's fixtures aren't the greatest either. Hence why forward to remove top joints. Raul Jimenez, Welbeck because Brighton's fixtures aren't great, and Strand Larsen because of Cunha's involvement and Wolves now not having a double and having Manchester City away this week. So yeah, that's a super skim over our top 3 transfers out for each position. Now we'll move on to Fantasy Football Hub's AI recommendations of FPL Weasel's team first. He'll go through what his choices are, and we'll see whether it matches up before we look at the recommended transfer and if it matches up with his. So over to you, Paul, or should I say, Mr. FPL Weasel.
For my week 35 team, I've chosen Ray out at home to Bournemouth over Pope away to Brighton, as Bournemouth have lost Everson, who's sending off at the weekend, and I think Arsenal will concede less goals than Newcastle this week. In defence, I've gone Milenkovic away to Palace, Munoz at home to Forest, and Gardeful at home to Wolves. And I've benched Digne at home to Fulham, as I think he's a rotation risk, and Hudson away to Arsenal, who I think will concede the most goals out of all 5 of my defenders. I think all my defenders will concede this week, so I've got a hope for assists and goals from them. My free transfer this week will be Saka to Mbeumo, because I think Saka will be a rotation risk, and then Mbeumo's in the form of his life, and second highest scorer on FPL. I've got Sarr at home to Nottingham Forest, Rodgers at home to Fulham, and my captain this week is Salah away to Chelsea. Up front, I've gone Watkins at home to Fulham, who is also my vice captain, and to get more minutes now, Rashford's got an injury. Mamouche at home to Wolves, and Mateta at home to Nottingham Forest. On my bench, as I already said, I've got Pope in goal away to Brighton, Odegaard's at home to Bournemouth, who I think will be rested, Digne at home to Fulham, who I think will be rotated, and Hudson away to Arsenal, which is obviously the hardest fixture this week for all my defenders. My expected points this week, according to FPL team, is 54.7, which I'm not really surprised. There's some tough fixtures this week. And after the last 2 weeks, the double game week 33 and the free hit of 34 was never going to hit those dizzy heights.
Alrighty, thank you, FPL Weasel, for your plans. If you were looking carefully, what Paul was describing was not the same as the hubs. Goalkeeper was the same, back 3 the same. Midfield slightly different. Paul said he's going to bench Odegaard and play Watkins, so he'll go in a 3-4-3 formation with Saka being transferred out for Mbeumo. And so his lineup would be Raya, Guardiola, Munoz, Milenkovic, Salah captain, Sarr, Rodgers, Mbeumo, Marmoush, Mateta, and vice captain Watkins. Personally, yeah, I agree with the goalkeeper choice in the back 3. Midfield, arguably too, to be honest. Bench Odegaard, because since the Arsenal will be having loads of benches against Bournemouth, because their priority is going to be the Champions League second leg, where they're in Paris trying to recover a 1-0 deficit. Marmoush should be starting this week, although there is talks and sightings of Haaland back in training, so there'll be a question mark over Marmoush's minutes going forward. And Mateta, we shall see. He'll be all right for 35, 36. We'll have to play it by ear because of whether he'll be rested in advance of the cup final. But that is then. This is now. So Paul again said his transfer plan was going to be Saka out and Mbeumo in. Let's see whether Fantasy Football Hub's AI agrees with him. Oh, not quite. It's actually recommending he sells Watkins in favour of Isak. Very interesting. I'm wondering whether that's fixture based, because Newcastle have got Chelsea to play and Arsenal to play. And to be fair, our record against Brighton, as I said, is terrible. So yeah, I'm not even sure I'd make that move if I had Watkins already. Yeah, with one free transfer, I think getting Mbeumo in and making a midfield transfer is more important. Well, thank you, Fantasy Football Hub, for your AI recommended transfer. But I think, Paul, and my suggestion will be No, thank you. Thanks, but no thanks. We're concentrating on midfield. So moving on to mine, Gameweek 35 bus team is the Hub AI has recommended I start with Raya over Martinez. Agree with that. Back three are Gvardiol, Munoz, and Kivior, and benching Concert and Bradley. I agree with that. In midfield, it's got me down as Salah, Saka, Sarr, and Rogers, with Salah as my captain, and it's actually put Saka as my vice captain, which I find quite bizarre, and will definitely not be doing that. And up front, it's got my plans of, well, my template front three, Isak, Marmoush, and Mateta. So on the bench, alongside Martinez and Concert and Bradley, is Man City's Savinho. So that's what the hub says. I recommend I start with. Before I move on to transfer plans, my main thoughts really, unsurprisingly, is midfield transfer. I've got one free. I've been fluctuating between Mbeumo and Bowen. The more differential move to try to gain rank would be to go with Bowen. But if he was outscored by Mbeumo, who's undisputedly the template and most popular transfer in this week, if Mbeumo outscores Bowen, then that would be massively detrimental to my rank. And I don't want to drop as far down as, no comment, some of the other admin team members, and one of which the admin team that left, Ben Sears. He's on a bit of a rise at the moment, and he's the one closest to me. And I'm actually, spoiler alert, Jack the Master, after his miserable week 34, I'm not too far behind him. It was 10 points plus his scores from tonight, and so I'm probably about 12, 13 points behind him, so not too far. So it's either Bowen or Mbeumo in, with either Saka, Savinho, or Sarr to go out, largely because of minutes. I think Man City's the opening fixture of the week, Friday night. If you weren't already aware, with it being the Friday night fixture, deadline is 6:30 Friday evening. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Let's see what the hub suggests I do. Oh, well, there you go. Along the same lines as me, Savinho out and Burmo in. Very interesting. And it actually means my brain is working slightly. Yay! And as my image in my logo says, thinking. Yeah, we'll have a look at that. So, before we go, if you have not heard the fixture announcement made earlier today, Thursday, in relation to game week 37, the fixtures in 37, all of them will remain in 37. The slight changes are due to the Saturday being for the FA Cup final and the bulk of the Premier League 37 fixtures being on the Sunday. City versus Bournemouth is being moved back into midweek of 37 onto Tuesday, the 20th of May. And Crystal Palace against Wolves is being moved back to that same day as well, Tuesday, the 20th of May. And what that announcement means is that unless there are any unforeseen circumstances, there will be no more double game weeks or blank game weeks this season. So anyone like me who has no chips remaining, I hope you're happy with that announcement. I certainly am. I just could not find the pom-poms when I read it. Anyway, if you have got chips remaining, you're going to have to think very carefully about when to use it. My suggestion would be Wildcard Gameweek 35. If you've got that left, if you've got free hit left, I think go crazy and differential in Gameweek 38. Assistant manager, if you've got that, could be either 35, 36, 37, or 37 through 38. But part of when you use it will depend on whether you've got other chips as well. So anyway, I'm waffling. Where to find us? On x.com, we're at FPL Affairs. FPL capital letters, A of Affairs capital, the rest lowercase. Facebook, search the Facebook group, Fantasy Premier League FPL 1, all lowercase, underscore, none, full stop, none, no spaces or anything. That's what the link is, or you could search FPL Affairs in the Facebook groups and that should find all our existing content. If you want to view back any of our idiots guides on blank game weeks or double game weeks or chip strategies or any of that stuff, you'll find that if you subscribe to our channel, which on YouTube is at FPL Affairs. If you click the little bell after you've subscribed, you should get notifications for all the videos that we have planned for and will release between now and the end of the season. So I think all that's left to say is keep your FPL affairs under wraps until the deadline, Friday, the 2nd of May, 6:30 p.m. And then after that time, if you feel comfortable, share your teams all over social media before making those plans for 36. Good luck, and hope your arrows are all green. Bye bye, everybody.